News from across northeast Wisconsin right now. Taylor Schabusiness, the woman convicted for murdering a man and dismembering his corpse, files an appeal this morning. As we've reported, she was originally arrested in that gruesome crime. The mother of Shad Therian found her son dismembered in her home. During court proceedings, Schabusiness also attacked her attorney before being restrained by a deputy. Schabusiness pleaded not guilty by reason of mental defect, but a jury convicted her of first-degree intentional homicide, third-degree sexual assault, and mutilating a corpse. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole back in July of 2023. However, her attorneys also intend to file a no-merit report along with that appeal, which would lay out why they feel she does not have grounds for a successful appeal.